Xinia is the only daughter of a middle-income family. Her mother taught her to read and write in Tagalog, as her parents were graduates in the province. They don't speak much English. Her mother graduated high school and, although intelligent, cannot go further. Studies coming from a big family. Her father goes to Manila to study college. He worked at a printing press while studying college, taking few units at a time. After finishing second year in accounting, he got married knowing the future is now secured as he can now land into a better job. Shaun is the last royal blood in his country. Due to chaos in his country, the royals must flee and assume a different name and profile. He is a prince by birth, living incognito. His father starts up a business in the country they seek refuge. Hadji, on the other hand, is also a prince, sent out of his country to experience life. In spite of this, he lives luxuriously like any other person in his country living overseas. The three kids met when Xinia is about to take an entrance exam in a Catholic school. Since she knows how to read and write at the age of 6, everyone thinks she will pass the exam with flying colors. However, the exam was in English. Her mother taught her colors and numbers in Tagalog. Shaun understands fluently both Tagalog and English, and so does Hadji. These boys are more responsible than other boys of their age, although Hadji is a bit mischievous. The task of these two boys is to assist their teacher during the exam. They will interpret or translate the questions to little kids, which is less intimidating than a teacher. During exam, Xinia, who does not understand English name for colors as her mother, her Tagalog names, tries to color the objects as per her intuition. She was able to color the fruits, trees, leaves, and flowers. However, in one part of the exam, she must color the dress of the figure blue. Xinia loves red and pink, so she picks red. Shaun and Hadji immediately came to the rescue. "Can you read?" asked Hadji bluntly. "Yes, she can," answered Shaun. "If she can read, why did she pick red instead of blue?" Lul retorted Hadji, thinking Xinia could probably be colorblind. "The colors have no label. I don't know their English." "Name," said Xinia. She picked a color and explained further to the two boys that the color is pula. The boys looked at each other and finally understand. She only knows the Tagalog names of the color. Immediately, the two boys get brand new box of Crayola for Xinia to use. That becomes easy for Xinia now to compare the color names from the label to what is being asked. She tried to remember each English names of the color. Both boys are kind enough to give her the Crayola box, which has 24 colors. She was so proud. She has not seen that many colors, even with her rich cousins. Practical exam for writing letters was easy peasy for Xinia, but not the numbers, as again, she only knows its Tagalog names. Again, the two boys will shout to Xinia its Tagalog translation. Xinia passed the exams with the help of two boys. She was placed in section 1 as she topped the exam. On her first day of class, Xinia does not want to use the Crayola given by the two boys, thinking it is too expensive, but carry it all the same. Her rich cousin Lu was so envious as well, with her colors as even her parents can't buy it for her. It is quite rare at that time to have 24 colors in a box. Shaun and Hadji passed by her class to say good morning. As both boys were older by 4 years, they go to a different class. Many students have a crush already at both boys, but they don't seem to be interested with girls. Not that yet. Recess came by and all the kids are excited as they can play after eating. Xinia's mom gave Xinia rice and egg for recess, which is her favorite. Her mom was used to having rice, meat, or vegetable for recess in the province, so she thought it will be the same in Manila. All of Xinia's classmates laugh at her seeing her eating rice in school. She wanted to complain and tell her mom, who was waiting in the school waiting area for moms and nannies. But she does not want to embarrass her mom and hurt her feelings. She took a great effort preparing the food. As such, Xinia ate her food crying. Shaun and Hadji saw Xinia crying. "Why are you crying? This is your first day. Don't you like school?" chorused the boys. "My classmates are teasing me because I am eating rice for recess. They said rice is for lunch, not for short breaks," Xinia responded, crying while trying to finish her food. She doesn't want her mom to worry so much, so she needs to finish whatever she gave. The two boys then look at each other. They know it is not usual for kids to eat rice that early. But what can Xinia do? It was her first day in school, the eldest among her siblings, and it is but natural for her, Mom, not to know what to give to Xinia and what not to give. What the two boys did surprised everyone. They asked for fork and spoon from the cafeteria and ate Xinia's food. They also gave Xinia some sandwiches and juice. The three kids then share whatever each one has before they play. The popularity of the boys makes them a role model. Although both does not reveals their real identity in school, their royal breeding exceeds teachers' expectation. Other students seeing them, eating rice for recess, then requested their parents to give them rice. Too, as it is cool. Xinia then doesn't feel outcast anymore, since almost everyone is doing it. From that time on, the three kids are always together. The boys will always pass Xinia's room before proceeding to theirs. They will eat together and play together during recess. It is just unfortunate that Xinia has a shorter class period, being only in kinder, whereas the boys are already grade 4. Xinia, Shaun and Hadji become the best of friends. The two boys are treating little Xinia as their little princess, which they never had. They share whatever they have to Xinia and protect her by all means in school. This makes Xinia's parents very happy. As Xinia's father is the only one earning, it becomes hard for the family to augment the family income. Her mother must take care of her two little brothers as well and bring them to school while waiting for Xinia. It seems to be like picnic every day, since her mom must bring food and milk for the boys. She also sells yama and pulveron to the nannies and other school children buy some of it when they go out of school, but not during recess, since they are not allowed to buy outside food. To make sure everything is sold out, Hadji's bodyguards in disguise will buy whatever is left, while Shaun's little buddies, his personal guards, are kids too, but experts in martial arts, buy some of it when they enter school. All of these are kept secret to Xinia's mom. She just knows these kids and people as her Suki or regular customers. The little amount she earned every day helps to pay for Xinia's tuition fee. Although Xinia studies in Catholic school, it wasn't easy for her. While her classmates brag their new things, Xinia can just look at them and admire. Her rich cousin Lou is not even helping. She will always say, "Mahirap kasi kayo kaya wala ka." Niyan. She even called Xinia as Xiniyang, mahirap, since she has another cousin with the same name but rich. Xinia has only one pencil and a box of crayon from Shaun and Hadji. She protected her pencil by covering it with old newspaper rolled and knot at the tip to protect the lead from breaking, while her classmates sharpen their pencils all the time. Their small pencil sharpener, Xinia has to wait for her parents to sharpen her pencils at home using knife or blade. Being in kinder, they don't use books, but has unified coloring books, so all kids can do the task at the same time. The coloring book also has letters and numbers of which kids has to trace to learn how to write. Xinia's father cannot afford to buy her book, so he borrowed Lou's book and painstakingly copy page by page and then book bind it at work. This is what Xinia is using in school. Not exactly the same with her classmate, but since the content is the same, the teachers allowed Xinia to use it. On Christmas, Shaun and Hadji gifted Xinia with a pencil box with lots of pencils inside. It is so beautiful since it includes a small sharpener inside. It was a small Hello Kitty type. Hadji bought on a whim in HK when he went there to shop for his school supplies. Shaun, on the other hand, gave Xinia a school bag, as she was using a plastic straw bag knitted by her old aunt. Not a proper bag for school, but works anyways. Xinia was so happy. She gifted the boys with pulveron and yama and a hand-drawn Christmas card. Not a biggie, but the two boys were so happy with the card and treasured it. They won't even give any of them pulveron and yama to their guards, saying, "All mine." Shaun was lucky as he has his family to spend Christmas with, but not Hadji. His family is in his home country, and they do not celebrate Christmas. He usually spends time with Shaun and his family, but this time, Xinia's mother invited him in. He was so happy he brought his big suitcase, as he will be living with the family till New Year. Shaun was so envious. Since the apartment is small with only one bedroom, the kids sleep on the bed while the parents sleep in the floor. Hadji's bodyguards were sent home as they will not fit, and it will be obvious to Xinia's parents. that the so-called Suki were bodyguards. Hadji woke up with an aching back. He is not used to sleeping on a wooden bed with no thick mattress. He ordered his bodyguards to buy a nice bed for the family as his Christmas gift. Naturally, Xinia's parents were so happy but refused, stating it won't fit the bedroom. The delivery guys, however, on Hadji's instruction, refuses the return, stating they have a no return, no exchange policy, forced to accept. The kids are so happy with the new bed, jumping up and down. It was so soft they love to stay on bed all day. To protect the mattress, Xinia's mother did not remove the plastic cover. Knowing Hadji gifted the family with bed and mattress, Shaun sent the family with nice bed sheets, pillows, and duvet covers. On Christmas Eve, Shaun's family brought a lot of food to share. They stayed in Xinia's apartment till wee morning. Since the place they are staying is small, not everyone will fit the table. Xinia's father then talked with the owner of the apartment if they can use the vacant lot beside it so he can move out the table buffet style. He borrowed extra chairs from neighbors as well. Some have to eat standing like Shaun's. Buddies and securities introduced as part of the family. It was a very happy event that Shaun's family requested to repeat the same for New Year. Shaun's father, upon learning that Xinia's father finished second-year college, asked him if he would like to work as clerk in an insurance company. Who would refuse such opportunity? He immediately agreed and was asked to report to his new job the following year. New year bring new hope to the family. Working as clerk means more money than doing manual labor in a printing shop. They were so happy this will ease their burden. They can repay some of their debts too. From that time on, Shaun and Hadji become an external part of Xinia's family and vice versa. When school opens, Xinia came with her very nice school bag and pencil case with lots of pencil. It was so fancy. Her classmates were so envious. One classmate even reported to the teacher that Xinia stole her pencil case. Being poor, other classmates believe with what she said. They begin to bully Xinia before the teacher can intercede. "Is the pencil case yours?" asked the teacher. "Yes, teacher. Hadji gave it to me last Christmas," answered Xinia. "That is too expensive to be given away." "You stole it from Kay," chorused the kids, believing Kay's lies, as she is the richest girl in class and always bragging about what her father bought for her. "You said it was given by Hadji?" asked the teacher to interrogate further. "Yes, teacher. He is in grade core 1, answered Xinia, already crying. "Okay, let's call Hadji then to find out," the teacher said while writing a note to be given to Hadji's teacher, so Hadji can come down. The teacher, of course, know that Hadji is a rich kid, but not aware of his hidden identity. The pencil case cost a lot, probably costing her week's salary. Soon Hadji and Shaun came down. They were so mad seeing Xinia crying. They immediately wiped her tears and asked what happened. The teacher explained to the boys the situation. "I gave the pencil box to Xinia last Christmas." "Is there a problem with that?" Hadji asked, already losing his composure. It is the first time everyone sees Hadji serious and mad. They were scared, as Hadji was well known to be the school clown, always making everyone smile and happy because of his playful character. This was Shaun's opposite. Shaun, with his quick wit and investigative nature, asked the kids why they don't believe Xinia and believe Kay instead. They kids answered because Xinia is poor and can't afford expensive things. Since the three of them are friends, they will certainly protect Xinia. They have a point, as Shaun and Hadji will do everything for Xinia. Okay, let us put it this way. Shaun gave the pencil case to the teacher, then asked both girls to describe the box, mechanism, and how many pencils inside. "I don't know. It's new and I haven't figured out everything," said Kay, stammering, as she wasn't even able to hold the pencil case. "The case has a lock. You can't open it without knowing the secret code. It has 5 pencils inside, all Hello Kitty, 1 small eraser that smells like bubble gum, and a built-in sharpener," answered Xinia. The teacher then looked at the pencil case, really amazed how expensive it could be. She asked Xinia for the code, which Xinia whispered to her ears. True enough, when the case was opened, it contains 5 pencils, all Hello Kitty, a small eraser, and a built-in sharpener. The ohs and the ahs from the children can be heard to the next room in amazement on how beautiful the case, the pencils and the smell being emitted by the eraser. Xinia won. Case closed. Shaun and Hadji went back to class. Xinia no longer feels outcast in class, as she already has what everybody has. Classmate no longer bullies her, as she is being protected by the two idols. Lou, however, told her mom about Xinia's pencil case and wants one. No matter how rich they were, they can't find one in the country, as Hadji bought it in Disney HK. Lou's mother greediness kicked in and asked the family to pay more rent since they can now afford to buy beautiful things for Xinia. Lou is Xinia's first cousin. The family's rich and has 3 apartment units where Xinia's family's renting. It is the smallest one which they can hardly afford and fit in, and yet their in-laws. Servants live with them as well. True, Xinia's father now has a better job. However, the increase in salary only goes to the rent, having a stable job now. Xinia's father qualifies to apply for housing loan through SSS. It was by raffle at that time, since there are so many applicants, and have only 500 housing units. They got lucky. After careful computation and budget forecasting, they believe they can manage. The place has a nearby school too, and the tuition is a bit cheaper than the Catholic school Xinia was. Without further ado, Xinia and family moved in Marikina after the house turnover. Xinia was in grade 2 then. The boys coincidentally left the Catholic school as well in preparation for high school. Hadji transferred to Ateneo while Shaun goes to LaSalle. They did not see each other for over a year, and no communication, as well as Xinia does not have a house phone. The boys, on the other hand, don't know her exact address as the family moved in summer. When Xinia was already in grade 4, Xinia, with her 2 brothers, is big enough to ride the public transport. They took a bus home. The bus is full, and the 2 boys are having a hard time holding the rails, until 2 handsome boys stand up and offer their seats too. Xinia and her brothers. Xinia was so thankful, but can't look at the boys, who were so handsome she was blushing. The boys looked at each other and immediately understand why Xinia was blushing. They have more than enough experience with girls running after them since elementary. They speak in a foreign language no one in the bus understand. They said they are going to tease Xinia a bit and follow her back home to know where she lives. They then ordered their guards not to disturb their prank for Xinia. They were staring at Xinia and admiring how beautiful she becomes with only just year and a half of growth. Finally, Xinia and her brothers alighted in front of their house. The 2 boys followed and asked the bodyguards to get down a few meters away. They will be scouting for a house rental near Xinia's. Xinia, noticing the boys following her, was already banging the gate to get inside immediately. She was so shy and does not know what to do. It was her first time being admired and followed by a boy. Not just 1 but 2. Not just ordinary boy, but 2 handsome boys she could imagine. When her mother opened the gate, she rushed immediately inside. Her mother was so surprised. The 2 boys not minding. Xinia's mother's soapy hand and sweaty body kissed her hands immediately. They also hugged her lovingly. It was at that time that Xinia's mother recognized the 2 boys, who had gone taller, more handsome, and with tiny mustache already growing. They had grown up like little men. Xinia's mother asked the boys to go in and called Xinia to go out and see the boys without mentioning their names. Xinia refuses, as she really did not recognize both. She stayed long in the room until they decided to make her come out. They softly knock on the door and ask Xinia to come out, but she really wouldn't. Their voice changed as well. The boys then think of a plan to make her come out. They ask their bodyguards to buy Spam and loaf bread in the nearby store. They will lure Xinia out with a Spam sandwich and juice. Shaun begin cooking the Spam while Hadji toasts the bread. The good smell did not escape Xinia's sensitive nose. It has been a long time she tasted those. With her father's meager salary, having Spam is already considered a feast. She slowly came out of the door, and seeing the boys no longer in the living room, gave her a sign of relief. She went to the kitchen and was surprised to see the boys cooking while her mother is still doing her laundry. Both boys then rushed to Xinia, leaving whatever they are cooking before. Xinia could run away again. The 3 hugged each other like the good old days. The kids then enjoyed the burnt toast and a toasted Spam. The kids chat and laugh a lot until it is late. Xinia's father arrived and invited the boys to eat with him. They have enough rice, but not the viand. The boys then opened the grocery bag the bodyguards bought and asked Xinia's mom to cook spam and ham, which they have. Xinia and her two brothers were so happy. Having those kind of canned good is a feast, which is just breakfast. For the two rich boys, it was a simple meal, but the table was filled with laughter, making dinner more enjoyable. The two boys left the groceries to Xinia's mom and promised to be back as it is late. They went home happy. The boys agreed to see Xinia every Friday afternoon and weekends too. Days passed by, and all the kids looked forward for Friday and weekends. For the boys, it is to be with their extended family. For Xinia, of course, to be with the boys she was beginning to have crush with. Her brothers, on the other hand, looks forward for delicious food which are being served only when Shaun and Hadji are around. On one occasion, the boys decided to pick up Xinia and her brothers in school as it is Catholic school holiday. The two boys are so handsome. Many girls in Xinia's school keeps on passing back and forth to catch their attention. The rumor of having those two heart-throb in the school vicinity spread like wildfire, and even Xinia was tempted to go out to see how handsome those boys are. Girls begin making excuses just to be able to have a look. Almost everyone agrees the boys are handsome, looking like celebrities. Xinia controlled herself and said she will just wait for recess. She will be lucky if the boys are still there, whispered the girl seating beside her. Their teacher was a young lady and began teasing the girls about crush and talk about her killing moments when she was younger. Everybody laughs at the teacher's kinkiness. She then let everyone out for 5 minutes to do what they need to do. The girls naturally rushed to the lobby where the two boys are playing Nintendo Mario Game & Watch. The device was so popular, only the rich and privileged can afford at that time. Two of Xinia's classmates, which are both considered as the class beauty, are brave enough to talk with boys. The boys politely speak with them, but bluntly stated they are waiting for their girlfriend. Everyone was so shocked knowing someone in school was able to catch the attention of these guys, which is not their beauty queens from grade 5 to high school. Xinia, seeing the two boys, said they were ugly. All the girls turned their eyes to Xinia, stating she was blind, has no taste, or needing glasses. Xinia just laughs it off and told the girls she can command the boys to stand and buy her snack if she wants. Everyone dares Xinia, who is quite well known for being timid. She was even branded as Maria Clara since her clothes were all oversized in anticipation of growing up. The girls then gave way to Xinia so she can approach the boys. She stood in front of Shaun and Hadji and says she's hungry. The boys immediately stood up and asked what she wants to eat. To their amazement, the boys really did what Xinia asked. Everyone was talking about Xinia and the two boys when they get back to their room. Hadji and Shaun followed Xinia to her room, then went back to the lobby and wait. Xinia and her brothers proceeded to where they are sitting to eat with them. They bought a lot of food in the school canteen for everyone to share. They also promised to wait until the class is over. Before the class ends, the two boys were already waiting outside Xinia's room. The teachers on the adjacent rooms noticed them and assumed they were foreigners. They immediately concluded that these were the two boys all the girls were talking about earlier. Both teachers signaled each other and decided to dismiss both classes early as the students were no longer listening. The male teacher was teasing, also the female teacher that he was as handsome as those two boys when he was younger. Xinia's teacher just laughs it off and dismissed the class. Little did they know, the two boys understand perfectly what they said, being multilingual. The girls were all bugging Xinia to introduce them to Shaun and Hadji, which she did after class. Shaun took her bag, while Hadji carried her books. They waited for Xinia's brothers in the lobby and took them home using Hadji's car. All the girls who saw this were so jealous of the timid girl they branded as Maria Clara on having two handsome rich boyfriends. From that time on, Hadji and Shaun will pick them from school during Fridays, take them home, and if not busy, will sleep over with Xinia's family. They left two nice folding cots, which they used every time they sleep in Xinia's house. The house now has 2 bedrooms. One bedroom is being shared by the 3 children using the bed given by Hadji, while the parents still sleep on the floor in the other room. Whenever Hadji and Shaun are having a sleepover, Xinia's parents will sleep in the living room, while boys use their room. Time passed by so quick. Xinia was already in grade 6, and the two boys are both graduating in high school. Xinia's classmate, the class valedictorian, has a crush with Xinia. As Xinia and her brothers are attending afternoon classes, her classmate will often drop by in the morning to ask if there is something Xinia does not understand. Naturally, Xinia will just come out, talk with the boy as the boy's mother is her father's friend. They will talk for long hours discussing the lesson. This happens every day. The boy's parents were already teasing Xinia's father that they will be in-laws soon during community meetings. On the other hand, another boy from a different class parents heard about the name Xinia. They asked Xinia's father if his daughter also studies in the same school with his son. Upon learning, he joined the teasing game, since he said his son always mentioned Xinia's name as well. Xinia is no beauty queen, a bit tomboyish too, since she is the only girl in the family and has only boys as friends. She doesn't even know how to play picot and garter, so her father dismisses the idea. It was just a joke for him. Deep inside, he is happy as his little girl is now getting attention from boys. He was scared too, as he doesn't want to lose his little girl early. Given a chance, he prefers either Shaun or Hadji. Xinia never mentions this to Shaun and Hadji, as she considered it unimportant. Her father, on the other hand, discusses it with Xinia, reminding her that she is too young to have a boyfriend. They were in a serious discussion when another boy's parents came looking for Xinia. They thought it was another admirer looking for Xinia, only to find out Xinia beat their son black and blue. They brought their son along with them to ask Xinia to apologize. Xinia refused, stating that the boy lifts her skirt with a stick. Luckily, she was wearing shorts. Xinia's father was so mad he would like to beat the parents as well. The parents now, understanding the situation, beat their son as well. Before graduation, Shaun and Hadji was in Xinia's house, since the finals are over and they just need to practice. It was at this moment that the boys discovered about Xinia's admirers. As Xinia went out to talk with the class valedictorian for quite a long time after breakfast, they thought Xinia likes the boy too. Jealousy hits their young heart. Both boys decided to study in UK to give Xinia a chance to decide on her own fate. Shaun and Hadji left with a heavy heart. They don't want to go, but Xinia is growing fast. Their presence will surely hamper her social development. In addition, Hadji knows it is not allowed in his country to marry a foreigner. Shaun, on the other, will be allowed, but he and his family are just political refugees. What future can he give Xinia? Although both boys talk about love, they never mention the girl's name, which makes their heart flutter. They promise themselves it will be kept a secret until they can. Both agreed not to hurt the girl they love and cut the relation short before it becomes too deep. Meanwhile, Xinia was also so sad. She doesn't know what she did wrong. Why did the two boys leave? Was it because the love of their life will also be studying in UK? She knows she will be in no match with that lucky girl. Her family is poor and hardly surviving. The boys are rich. She may have been accepted by the families, but only as a friend. Never will be wife. She then decided no love or crushes until she finished college and have a good job. Something her parents can be proud of. Be the someone no parents can refuse. Xinia's father knows he won't be able to support the children when they reach college. One of their friends suggested to let the children study in any public high school in Manila. This is in preparation for college, as Manila has the best public high schools and has a state university as well. However, those benefits are applicable only to Manila residents. Xinia, being very promising and always an honor student, has bigger chance for that. Her father seeks among his office mates who lives in Manila someone who will be kind enough to adopt Xinia. Not the real adoption though, as they will not be responsible for Xinia. Xinia just needs their consent to use their address and phone number. Whatever communication the future school has for the guardians will all be attended by Xinia's parents. It would have been easier if Shaun is still around, as he owns a condominium along Taft Avenue. He knows Shaun's parents will surely agree, especially Shaun's mother, who treated Xinia as her own daughter. Unfortunately, Shaun's parents decided to live with Shaun in UK. Finally finding one, all adoption papers were readied. At that time, all prospective high schoolers will have to take a general admission test. They need to get a high score if they want to study in Manila's #1 school, which is RMHS. The friend who suggested to have Xinia take the general admission test has an old exam, which his own daughter was using for review. They were kind enough to let Xinia browse the previous exam, but Xinia understands it is being used and worried to be blamed if she gets a better score. She just borrowed it for a few hours, read the questions, tried to remember as much as she can, then do the rest of her review on her own. It wasn't easy as her resources are limited. She must stay in public libraries even during summer studying, instead of enjoying her life. How she wished Shaun and Hadji is around to lend her books to read. The exam was strict and tough. Examinees are only allowed to have 2 pencils, an eraser, and a snack. No one is allowed to go out until the test is over. After the entrance exam, Xinia went directly home. She was so tired and sleepy. Almost everyone her father knows were asking how it goes. A question hard to answer as the results will be released in 2 weeks. It was a boring summer. It would have been much fun if Shaun and Hadji were around. They can bike around the village like they usually do and eat a lot of delicious foods and snacks. Xinia, although still bike around the village, prefers to stay home and just watch from the TV the boys left for them to use. She can't play with her second brother as he has other preferences already. The youngest, on the other hand, has his own friends as well, and Xinia will be too old to hang with them. The class valedictorian, on the other hand, who used to see Xinia having obtained his goal. Xinia and him are neck to neck in grades, won the award, and Xinia becomes the salutatorian. Still sees Xinia from time to time, but totally stopped upon knowing Xinia will be transferring school. Xinia suspected now that he was just spying on how much she knows. Alas, the results are out. Xinia got into RMHS. Her score is higher than her father's friend daughter. Students were categorized from their final grades in elementary, their test scores and honors received. She was supposed to be in Section 2, while the girl should be in Section 7. Her father, being a teacher in the same school, argues that his daughter was the class valedictorian and should be in the higher section. He never requested a switch but to comply with the argument it has to be done due to classroom quota. Xinia attended 1-7 class, but so proud of it, since there are 42 sections for first year alone. The number of sections will be getting smaller depending on the number of dropouts. The family was so thankful with their friend, as Xinia will be able to study for free. Textbooks will also be provided by the government as well. They will just worry on the usual bus fare and Xinia's allowance, and of course the school uniform which the school sells. It is so expensive that Xinia's mom decided to buy the cloth in Divisoria and then sew it herself. Unfortunately, the color of the skirt is a bit darker, and Xinia was branded as the girl with always new skirt because of its darker color, and theirs look faded. Good thing Xinia doesn't mind, as she was used to taunting in her previous schools. Although intelligent, she wasn't popular. Her popularity only soars due to Shaun and Hadji, who used to pick them up previously. Her first year goes well. She speaks English fluently, as she has a lot of practices speaking with Shaun and Hadji. Being a graduate in private school also helps. She excels in her class and was promoted to Section 1 the following year. A big progress indeed. During her second year, the school cafeteria offered an allowance on those who would like to help during their free period. Although the students attend school from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., they have an hour break every 2 or 3 hours. Xinia took this opportunity to help subsidize her family income. It was quite an experience, as she was earning her own money and at the same time doesn't need to ask for allowance. She can also bring siopao to her siblings and mom during payday. In Xinia's third year, Sections 1 to 6 been subjected to an experiment. The school officials mixed the students by random to see if the pilot group can pull up the less active ones, or the less actives can pull them down. This frustrates most of the students in the higher section, as they feel they are not worth to be in the lower section. Those in the lower sections, on the other hand, feel so proud as they jumped incredibly. To hide the real motive and ensure success, The school officials changed the sectioning into planet names, not in order. The previous Section 1 becomes Mars. The Fighter, Section 2 becomes Mercury. The Messenger in Section 3 becomes Venus, the beautiful people. Ironically, those placed in Venus section are really all handsome and beautiful. It was also this year when Xinia's father had some issues financially. The union decided to have a strike. Being a union member, there is nothing he can do but follow, believing life will be better after that. Little did the striker forecast it will last longer than anticipated. The money they were saving were spent on basic needs. Xinia's mother has to request promissory notes from time to time so the children can take exams. Xinia must stay longer in the cafeteria until it closes and her father to save. Money stayed in the picket line, going home only once a week to save. Money stayed in the picket line, going home only once a week to save his transportation. Money as the union ensure picketers will have something to eat while on picket line. Xinia sometimes brings him food as well from cafeteria, which were not sold out. The rest were for her mother and brothers. It was tough, but they survived. Finally, Xinia finished high school. No glamour, no award received. She also becomes really slim, having to travel far, worked and study as well. Her second brother, having also passed the general exam studies in the same school and will do manual, labors in the cafeteria as well to earn some money. Taking pity of the hardship, the children are suffering. They decided to sell the house in Marikina to live somewhere near school and work. The kids are undecided, especially Xinia, since the house and the address is the only link between them and the two boys, Shaun and Hadji. Besides, in spite of living far away, the boys still send gifts during everyone's birthday and Christmas, basket for the family to share. However, it is being delivered through courier and no return address to say thanks. Shaun goes directly to UK. He tried to find a place to stay for him and his family. It was a modest Victorian house with 5 rooms and a small garden for his mom. He knows Xinia will be happy to live here if ever too, as she loves gardening. Her mother, knowingly. Shaun likes Xinia, so much has added her name in the family registry as her goddaughter under the name Sujin, meaning treasure. Hadji, on the other hand, went back to the palace and spent summer with his parents. While he was with his father, he slowly convinces his father to create a law that allows men from their country to be able to marry a foreigner. He has a hidden motive. He would like to marry Xinia, should Xinia choose him. As a backup plan, he ensures Xinia will be accepted by his parents by naming her Kalila, meaning dearly beloved. Xinia is Catholic, but it will be easy to convert her to people of the book, thus Christian or Jewish religion, to allow mixed marriage. Both boys enrolled then in the same university in UK, but under a different degree program. Shaun took economics, law and accounting at the same time as those 3 courses has some link subjects that can be credited. Hadji, on the other hand, took IT and engineering at the same time. They tried to make themselves busy to forget. Xinia but has assigned their embassies to send gifts on specific dates like birthdays and Christmas. They no longer hide their real identities, as the students in the school were, either royals or aristocrats. Some super-rich families are also sent in that school as well. While the other students are busy with wine, women and vices, Shaun and Hadji are busy with their studies and establishing their own business empires. Shaun is into hotels and eatery. Hadji is into cars and gas stations. Both ensure that there is always a partnership in their companies. All companies established by Shaun is always under the name of Shaun and Sujin, while Hadji has Hadji and Kalila. Their companies become so big that they become billionaires in their own rights, even before college graduation. Both boys, however, never reveals the real identity of the partners involved. Soon they begin to branch out from UK to US and North America, then to other parts of the world, including Philippines. They, however, never set foot in the Philippine soil. It is not the time yet. Before graduation, the school sponsored the top class. For the entrance exams in both EP and PLM, they shouldered the entrance fee, the transportation, and provided some snacks. Xinia took advantage of the opportunity and took both. Passed both. UP is more promising, but she can't take any medicine-related course. She didn't reach the quota score. Many are advising to take other courses, then shift later. This, however, will delay her graduation since some of the subjects will not be credited. PLM, on the other hand, will let her to take BS Biology, Nursing, or Psychology. She chooses PLM since the mayor, at that time, provides a monthly allowance and school uniform. She doesn't need to work and can still help the family. The course coordinator finds her promising and convinced her to take psychology instead of nursing because of her poor health. She was just 70 lbs and 5'4". Truly thin for her age, and might not be able to cope with the strenuous activity in nursing. The class starts with 24 students in total. Each student must meet the minimum grade of 2.0 and an average of not then lower than 1.75 each term. Anyone who fails the criteria will be given a warning on the first term, then kicked out on the next if the grades doesn't improve. The students then have an option to stay in school but take a different course or get out of the school to retain the course. Being used to boys, Xinia gets along well with 2 classmates, Mon and Pol, and one girl, Badette. The group are always together and learned to use carbon papers when taking down notes in their major subjects. They will exchange notes later and used a common abbreviation, only them understand, to finish the task easily. Since Mon and Xinia are both interested in key punching, uses big IBM machines where information are stored on cards only experts can read. They frequent Xinia's father, who is now assigned an IT department. Her father teaches her key punching and passing it to Mon. Sometimes they will program this cards to reflect names instead of codes. It becomes a popular bookmark during their time. Unknowingly, Hadji and Shaun were in the country and have heard that the gifts meant for the family can no longer be delivered as the family moved. They went to the company where Xinia's father was working and saw Xinia and Mon eating lunch with Xinia's father. They were so jealous, but the desire to talk with Xinia was far stronger than the jealousy they felt. Xinia was so happy seeing both she can't stop crying while hugging them. Her eyes were so swollen, she can't go back to school. Mon then informed the teachers Xinia got sick and went home. The boys were sorry to see Xinia so thin and looks malnourished. She was also wearing thick eyeglasses, which does not suit the face. She looks ugly. But for Shaun and Hadji, Xinia is the most beautiful girl they ever met. The boys were so handsome. Xinia wished she could have either of them, too. If only her wish could come true. Shaun and Hadji were in Shaun's condo in Taft. Aveba decided to stay with Xinia's family when invited. They want to probe deeper on the family status, and of course, Xinia's relationship with Mono. They also sent some private detectives to pry on Mon's background. Learning the truth of the actual relation, this put the boys at ease. They would like to help Xinia finish college secretly so the family won't refuse. Both boys went to Xinia's school and talked with the administration. They promised to give support to school, especially Xinia. But it has to be a secret. They will finance Xinia's allowance, textbooks, projects, and field strips. The rest of the money can be used by the school as aid. The administration agreed, and a contract was written. The boys left happily and back in their own home base so as not to disturb Xinia. Back to home base, Shaun and Hadji again separate ways. Hadji came back to his home country to aid his ailing father and soon become king. It was at that time that he pushed the new law regarding mixed marriage and polishing it over time. Shaun, on the other hand, expanded his business. People says he could be regarded the richest man if his assets are registered in Forbes, which he never did. He is not after wealth or power. He simply wants to live as Shaun. Meanwhile, in Manila, the previous mayor lost the election. All the benefits, the so-called Scholar ng Bayan, were discontinued. Xinia is now worried where to get money. The subjects are getting increasingly difficult. The first to go was Paul. He wasn't even able to finish first year. Mon and Badette followed next on their second year. No friends, no money, how can she survive? It was at that time that the administration called Xinia, stating that the school decided to continue her allowance and will help her with other school expenses. She just needs to ensure her good grades, and this will continue as long as she stays. It was quite a relief. She doesn't need to work part-time as an encoder outside the school. She can focus on her studies to retain her grades and still save some money for the family if she will be frugal. Having able to eat properly now in school, she slowly gains weight. The school also gave her a new set of eyeglasses as part of the school project I See You, which were actually sponsored by both Shaun and Hadji secretly. Student were just told the sponsors were S&S in partnership with H&K Group of companies. She felt amazing and more inspired to study. She also sent thank you notes to the sponsor. The so-called sponsors were so happy receiving that thank you note and like little kids fighting on who will keep the note from Xinia. Boys notice Xinia now, turning from ugly duckling to a white beautiful swan. Like her classmates, she now has admirers which Xinia never really care about. On their last year, their group was assigned to put a stall for fundraising. Being all girls in the group, they decided to sell BBQ and sago. This was coupled with personalized bookmarks made by Xinia. Customers can pick a bookmark from the sample and Xinia will do it on the spot. It clicked so well as the girls in Psyche department are pretty. One of the booths has a marriage booth. Most of the boys are requesting the girls to be their bride. Her classmates marry multiple times, but not Xinia, as Xinia's condition is that the boy has to buy at least 50 pesos from their stall, which is quite big at the time. The time is almost near. The Psyche stall has still a lot to sell when two handsome guys went to their stall and asked if Xinia could marry them. Xinia, who was busy crafting the bookmarks, is not looking. Her classmate says Xinia's condition for marriage. The two guys immediate put 50 pesos bill on the table at the same time. If Xinia will marry both, then their stall wins the highest fund raised in the whole afternoon. All her classmates are begging Xinia to marry. Her inks and watercolors spills, but before it could touch Xinia, the two guys were quick enough to catch those in time. Xinia looks unbelievingly with the two guys and said yes without seeing the dowry and the 50 pesos purchase in their stall. Xinia then marries both Shaun and Hadji at the same time. Their booth wins and Xinia went home with her two husbands. Since both Shaun and Hadji bought all the BBQ and sago from Xinia's stall, the girls were so busy cooking until everything was cooked. The boys gave some of the BBQ to be taken home and some were left for the girls to eat. They borrowed the sago container as well so they can share it with Xinia's family. All the while, other students keep on looking at the two customers from the Psyche stall. They were foreigners for sure, but how could they enter the school? The security is so strict. Even them can't get in without wearing the proper uniform and ID. Before the conclusion of the fundraising event, the administration begins their round to collect and verify the proceeds. Upon seeing Shaun and Hadji, they hurriedly went to the Psyche booth. The students were scared as their customers were outsiders and might be reprimanded. They were surprised to see the admins happily smiling as they walked towards their booth and shake hands with the two guests. Admins were already informed of their coming and the secrecy of their identity as the school benefactor. After the announcement of the winners, Xinia and her two husbands went home happy and excited how her family would react seeing the boys. She also can't wait to introduce them as her husbands. She knows it was just a school event and might get scolded, but it makes her heart jump for joy. The two boys feel the same. Secretly, they were overjoyed having to marry Xinia and have requested the booth owner to give them 3 copies of each picture. Shaun and Xinia, Hadji and Xinia, and the 3 of them together. This will be their final souvenir at the moment. The shared BBQ and sago coupled with rice becomes a perfect dinner for the family. Everybody was so full and can't hardly stand to clean the table and wash the dishes. They were also surprised to see Hadji eating pork and not even halal. The boys explained that Hadji is now Christian and so he eats everything. The boys left early as they do not wish to disturb the family. They are grown up now and not proper to have a sleepover, especially there is a young woman in the family. They promise to be back before they leave. Shaun and Hadji have a lot of thing to do as well. They wanted to buy a land, convert it into fruit orchards with the main house at the middle, a swimming pool and fish pond for the koi. They also want to have at least 3 or 4 small cottages for their guest. They found a good place along Batangas with the required size they wanted. They put the title under their name and Xinia's. Construction begins immediately, with Hadji and Cholai supervising. They kept this a secret to everyone. A copy of the title was left to their administrators to manage. Regardless of their busy schedule, they ensure Xinia will be taken care of. In the morning, Hadji will pick her up and bring her to school. Shaun will pick her up in the afternoon. They will stay in Xinia's place till dinner time and will leave immediately after so Xinia can study. This they do daily, and Xinia was being teased by almost everyone that her husbands are so loving and reliable. They stayed until Xinia graduated. The construction of the villa was done with the use of modern machineries from a well-known construction company. It was already halfway through when Shaun got the notification from his home country. Since the chaos in his country is over, the royals decided to go back. They are no longer the head of the state, but still revered as the symbol of the state. Unlike many countries where the royals gets tributes from their sovereign, Shaun and his family decided to give back to the people. Shaun spearheaded the redevelopment program using his own wealth. For him, money will come back, but not the lives of the people who sacrifices for the country. He aims to uplift the lives of his countrymen, a true hero in his own sense. As per the country's conscription policy, all males between the age of 18 to 35 and in good health has to perform compulsory military services for almost 2 years, depending on the situation. Shaun, being a citizen of the country, enlisted and was called to report for duty. He could easily file and request for exemption from this if he wanted to, but being a responsible young man, he complies. He left the country a few weeks after Xinia's graduation. Hadji, on the other hand, continue with the villa project, but can't stay long either. He is the king of the country, and there are many things that needs his attention. If only he could marry Xinia right now, he would like to bring Xinia home. Just like Shaun, he must leave to perform his duties. The villa project was left to Cholai, Shaun's right-hand man, and Ahmad for Hadji. They stayed in the country until the project completed, which took almost a year. As per instruction, title of the properties should be left in their respective embassies, who will take charge of it, make up maintenance. In the event that Xinia will suddenly show up, the property deeds will be given to her to take over. After graduation, like any ambitious girl of her age, she rushed to apply for any job that suits her qualifications. What delayed the process was the release of her diploma and transcript of records. At that time, you need to present those as proof of your qualification. Hundreds of resumes were sent to different companies, but the competition was so stiff. Some called, some don't. They are always looking for experience, which a newly graduate doesn't have. The only experience they have is the 400 hours of practicum. Xinia then decided to try her luck in teaching. She got the skills. She just need recommendation from her teacher or from a prominent person. Her uncle, a known lawyer and a professor in a known university, gave her the recommendation and even asked his eldest son to accompany her to the school where he is teaching. Xinia is smart. She passed all the requirements except for the teaching experience, which she never had, even during her practicum. Her experience is more on test administration and analysis. A certified psychometrician. Do you have teaching experience? Asked the dean. No, I don't, answered Xinia honestly. No experience and yet wanted to teach? What if you chicken out on your first day? This interview will be a waste of time, the dean says, taunting Xinia to see her reaction. The dean remembers Xinia doing a presentation in the school auditorium about graphology during her college days. He told Xinia's advisor that he would like to take her in to teach psychology once Chied approves their application. Xinia's advisors forget to tell Xinia about it since college teaching needs master's degree or at least a few units. Xinia, sensing rejection, does not want to accept it. She doesn't want her uncle and cousin's effort in vain. Bravely, she replies, "All institutions keeps on asking about having experience. Being a new graduate, if not given a chance, how can we get it?" This final answer paved the way to Xinia's teaching career. She was the first college instructor at the age of 21 with no masteral to teach. Psychology in that institution Xinia was given a day to prepare her materials for teaching. For the start, she was given 6 pesos per hour and was just given only 24 hours per week teaching time. This is in a premise that she will enroll and obtain the required master's unit before her second year. The starting salary will increase by 2 pesos if she survives the first semester. Teaching general psychology is easy for Xinia as she has a good foundation, having been under the well-known teacher branded as slave driver. Her previous teacher has no specific textbooks. However, 3 books are given each semester to read, and her students needs to read those as her discussion goes from one book to another. One must always be prepared to answer her questions or else be ready to be roasted in class. This was the very reason why partnership is needed in taking down notes in each book. Those who are rich can photocopy their classmates' notes. Others use typewriters and put carbon papers, while the rest write down the notes with carbon as well. For easy trade, on her first day, she came early and sit outside her assigned room. Many students usually talk with her, thinking she belongs to their class. Having friends in class helps, only to be surprised that she happened to be their teacher. Freshmen are easy to convince, but the higher years and the working students are a challenge. They are mostly much older than she is and would usually test her knowledge. They never win against Xinia. Older teachers, who previously taught the subject, can't win against her in arguments regarding process and theories. She's a master in her turf. This makes them insecure and tries to pick on her, so she won't last. Xinia's cousin fortunately has warned her against this already. Xinia never stays in the faculty room. She will just go there to time in and pick up some chalks, and off she goes. Her students are her friends. However, the relation stops once they are inside the room. She was strict and does not give way to unethical means. Her popularity increases that her class was so full the following semester. The dean tries to split the class, but no one wants to move out. She was then paid double because of that for every subject that has more than 60 students. Her parents were of course happy and proud of Xinia. As Xinia survived the first semester, she was given more loads during the second semester, and the promised increase of 2 pesos. This means Xinia and her father's salary will be the same. Her parents refuse the money being given by Xinia. Since Xinia needs to study again, she needs to save. She pays back her parents by buying the groceries from time to time. She also tries to buy them new clothes, as it has been years that they suffer. Being young and pretty, admirers are inevitable. Hadji. Soon Hadji becomes the king. He is always faced with a battle of wits, from law approval to law modification. The only one law he really wanted to pursue remains unmoving, as many opposes it. He would like to protect women as well in his proposed marriage law. The current law covers a broad, debated spectrum of rules regarding rights and roles, often differing based on interpretation and country, rather than a uniform code. It traditionally grants women legal capacity, including property ownership and marriage contract rights. His country is patriarchal. It gives more importance to men. Guardianship is still the man, and women are often treated as child brides. Hadji wants something different. He wants women to be free to choose their husband and has every right to accept or reject marriage proposal. He also wants his people to be free to marry foreigner, which is a taboo in his country at the time, probably because the country is rich and they don't want the wealth to scatter. Maybe because the old folks want to preserve the purity of ethnicity, or maybe because foreigner are more independent and won't let themselves feel like puppets. If ever he can marry Xinia, he wants Xinia to walk by his side, not at his back. He wants her to have an equal right with him and take part in making decisions. Her happiness will be the priority, not his. His country allows men to have multiple wives, so technically he can marry anyone. But Xinia should be his first wife. She must be given a right to agree or disagree for him to take concubines. But what if Xinia is already married? He wants her to decide to be free to divorce, or if not possible, take him as the second husband. A polyamorous wedding should be allowed and accepted by the society. All these he wants to do for Xinia. Shaun, as previously stated, Shaun joined the military services to partake in military drills. At that time, the military services are characterized by a highly oppressive environment, as the armed forces were a central tool for the military dictatorship. Unlike the current trend where the conscripts last for only 19 months, theirs were 30 lunar months, or equivalent to 2.5 years. It was a harsh environment for Shaun, but he insists on doing and completing the mandatory military exercises. To suppress domestic protests, they were given loyalty training. Many civilian protesters were killed, and so with the military trainees. Shaun survived all these. He becomes a master in martial arts, shooting, and excels in all military exercise. He also learned parachuting and flying combat planes. Since leaves and vacations for the trainees were very limited, Shaun is contented in receiving letters, and from time to time, and calls from his parents. 2.5 years had passed, and Shaun was finally discharged. He was so happy seeing his parents picking him up from the barracks. On their way home, the car they were riding was ambushed by the rebels. Both of his parents died instantly. Shaun, his buddies Cholai, Yagak, and Lee survived. Unfortunately, Shaun suffered a lot from the explosion while trying to save his parents. He was in coma for over 3 years. The death of his parents was a big blow that he suffered amnesia. Xinia, although still waiting for the return of Hadji and Shaun, has her fair share with love. On her 2nd year of teaching, the son of a military officer named Yano courted Xinia. He was kind, thoughtful, and sweet. Every day, he gives Xinia love poems he created instead of love letters. Xinia almost fall into his trap when she found out he has another girl who works in the same office with Jano's dad. They break up after 3 months. The second one is Nell. Handsome, responsible, and very charming. He always reminds him of Shaun, except for the height. Shaun is very tall, around 6'2" feet. Nell is just 5'5". One day, Xinia's friend saw Nell's picture and immediately got a crush on him. She took Nell's phone number and they become phone pal. To Sanaya's amazement, Nell begins courting Lai as well while courting her. She rejected Nell. The third one is Ram. Kind, responsible, and almost perfect. She has been dating Ram for almost 2 years when she found out he was married with 2 kids. Never mind the fourth one is Xinia has a contractual engagement with Junie. He was the eldest son. His father works abroad and his mother has a small stall in the market. Junie is a happy-go-lucky guy and never studies. No future at all. However, Junie's mom one time talked with Xinia to ask for help. If Xinia could just give Junie a chance, maybe he can have a direction in life. Xinia agrees on a condition that she will break up with Junie, either before he graduates or when her boyfriends come back. The deal is on. She will not be responsible for what the outcome will be. The relationship lasted for 3 long years, but Xinia did not fall in love with him and break up 1 semester before graduation. Xinia is getting tired of love that never comes. She then met again Lai, now married but not with Nell. A cousin of her husband was introduced to Xinia. Artie is still studying, with 2 more years to graduate. He is a good man. He, however, admitted to Xinia that he loves her, but not 100% before the wedding. Xinia is also unsure or herself with Artie. She, however, is already 27. Her brothers are already married and kids of their own, so she finally said yes. Artie promised Xinia to love her forever. Xinia was also impressed with Artie as he picks her up every morning to her class before he goes to his school, which is miles apart. Artie has no car. He has to wake up super early to be able to do so. He also patiently waits for Xinia to finish her class schedule at night. At the time of EDSA Revolution, people blocked La Garda to Mesa, making it impossible for any incoming vehicle to pass. Unfortunately, Artie, not familiar with other means to go to Xinia's school, walk his way to Xinia.